Welcome to the 14th show and the second in our new series of touring Texas songwriters with our host, the long tall Texan, Mr. Bruno Michel. Today's show features award-winning Amarillo-based songwriter Randy Palmer and is brought to you by the Barrel Brewing Company and the citizens of historic Salado, Texas. Randy Palmer was recorded live in front of a studio audience for broadcast on Country Radio Switzerland. Sit back, relax, and listen to the stories and songs of Randy Palmer.
All right, welcome to the second show of the opening of season 2 with Randy Palmer and another finalist, finalist of the Kerrville Folk Festival 2011.
In 2016.
And 16.
Yeah.
So quite an achievement. He's playing music since 1967, which means we're all getting old.
Yes.
And I think the first record came in 1975, if that's right. And not many songwriters can look on half a century of career that are still alive. A lot of them have already passed. So we are all really happy that we are getting old without passing away too early, I think. Now, his brother from another mother, Randy Louis Brown, the other part of the Randy Boys, which they form as a kind of second duo they do, has opened the first show here a year ago, almost. No, not quite. Yeah, December, not quite a year. And so we're really happy to have the second part of that duo here, and an artist in his own right. And welcome, Randy Palmer.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let's start with a song, I guess.
Okay. Do you have things in mind from what you've listened to? Or would you
Not
want me
at
just
all.
to go
We're
with
totally
something?
up to whatever you want to provide us with.
Okay.
We're happy to listen to.
Well, we'll start off with something that's from my part of the country in the High Plains. Well, these headlights are looking forward to the Oklahoma border, leaving Arkansas, all these trees behind. We're gonna roll across these ranges, these wide, empty spaces, down gravel roads to peace of mind. With these wheels, they're pointed westward through the scrub oak and the red dirt to the acres great-granddaddy claimed. It's a farm, it's family, it's good heart, red winter wheat, and everyone knows my name. Out on the high plains, where each mile along this road takes me to where I belong. I'm going home to the high plains. And these white lines slap the rhythm to a new verse being written to the songs I've been singing all my life. Oh, there is no mystery, I did not fit Tennessee, so I'm on my way to clear blue sky. If you look across the horizon, you might see a dust cloud rising behind a 1999 beat-up Ford. Well, my name is on the mailbox, my key fits the door lock, my favorite chair is on the porch. Out on the high plains, where each mile along this road takes me to where I belong. I'm going home to the high plains. And without those city lights, Milky Way's gonna shine so bright. This blind man, he might perceive his sight. Yes, once again to the high plains, where each mile takes me to where I belong. I'm going home to the high plains. And these headlights are looking forward to the Oklahoma border, leaving Arkansas, all these trees behind.
Great. Now, 50 years in the music business is quite an achievement, and the business has changed a lot since it started. What advice would you give a young artist that want to start today?
Get good at video. It's the world's changing a lot. I mean, and the audio component is only part of the equation anymore. So the video part of it is really, really important. And that comes from advice that I've just received this last week. I'm working on a new album,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing that this guy that's helping me with the planning of it was, he said, call somebody under the age of 30 to do your media, you know. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to learn something new on this one.
Bring in the girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that would be the advice, and maybe something to the effect of songs still matter. Good songs have a life of their own, and it's worth working at the craft of writing. And
absolutely. You teach songwriting, and you also do workshops, and like for upcoming songwriters. So that's a good place to give that advice to these guys. Where do you see the difference between the old folks and today's generation of songwriters? I mean, what, like compared to you or Randy with these new guys in terms of how they write, and you know.
Well, and I come from a folk country background on there. So in my world, it's become a lot more about the groove of the song as opposed to the. It's unusual to have a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus song anymore. That structure was the mainstay of songwriting for generations. And now, if you listen to the radio, you hardly ever hear a bridge, and you may hear the chorus 4 or 5 times in the song, and that drives me nuts because
they're running out of ideas.
Yeah, because I'm looking for some meat on the bone, and so I'm still writing old style basically, and I do believe that there's some good material out there, but I have a tendency to listen to stuff that's been around a while.
Mm-hmm. But why is it, do you think, that these guys are doing, you know, like repeated choruses like every 20 seconds?
I think our attention spans have shortened. I mean, as a people, I mean, we like things that are repetitive, and on that our phones refresh every just few seconds. You know, we watch the. I mean, if you just watch TV, you're seeing reruns most of the time. And I think we just like repetitive things. Is part of our era.
Can it be that creativity is missing these days, or if you had to hammer out like 3-4 verses?
I keep seeing really, really creative folks. And it's just, I think that maybe the common denominator has lowered in the quality standard, but that really quality creative work is still being done all the time. I go to places like Kerrville Folk Festival and Folk Alliance and stuff like that.
You see it,
and I see people who are excellent at what they do, and not by just ones or twos, but by the hundreds. And so it's still there. It's still there. Maybe it's just not getting the appreciation that
probably harder to get out these days.
Yeah, it is. It's a much more competitive world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's hard to get heard.
All right. Okay, let's play another one. We hear you.
Okay. One of the things that when I was a young man. We're going to have to tune, I'm sorry. These are new strings, and that's... As a young man, in 1968, my parents decided to build a cabin in the mountains of northern New Mexico, and that was absolutely maybe the most formative thing that happened to me growing up was building that cabin, mostly because I got to work with my dad, and we built that thing from the ground up, and I met that man in a whole new way, and we became best friends and still are today. He's in his late 80s now, and he is still my best friend by far. Great. But when we were building that cabin, he was concentrated on let's get to work, let's do this. And this old man, his name was M.B. Allen, would come by every now and then and steal me from the construction site and take me fishing. So this is a song about fishing with M.B. Allen. Well, it's straight up 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Idling at the gate, we were first in the line. I was 13 years old, and he was shouting stories about the ones that got away and the ones that are bound for glory. Old Bill Gallagher had a knowing smile when he opened up that gate. He said, $3 for that kid, $6 'cause you shave. I see you got a new fishing buddy. I hope you teach him right. M.B. grinned, said, hey Bill, we're having fish tonight. He said, cast your line into deeper water. Leave the past behind. Welcome to the wonder of an ancient love affair between a fish and a fisherman. You got to take a chance if you hope to reel her in. Reel her in. So like a bucking horse, that old Jeep, well, it bounced around that lake to a secret cove that M.B. called his sea of grace. And it was on that sacred shore he imparted this wisdom about love and war, good and bad, living and fishing. He said, cast your line into deeper water. Leave the past behind. Welcome to the wonder of an ancient love affair between a fish and a fisherman. You got to take a chance if you hope to reel her in. Reel her in. You know, fishing with M.B. was always a treat. He had rules for fishing, and I had to learn them. First one was you had to have 13 kernels of corn, 2 salmon eggs, 3 marshmallows, a worm on your fishing line if you were going to fish with M.B. And it hit me, I never ever fished with M.B. that I didn't catch a fish. So now we're 50 years down this road, I'm still coming back. Got my grandson at my side, and we're bouncing down this track to a secret cove, a sacred shore, and I know just what I'll say about the ones that are bound for glory and the ones that get away. shoreline into deeper water and leave the past behind. Welcome to the wonder of an ancient love affair between a fish and a fisherman. You got to take a chance if you hope to reel her in. I'll reel her in, yes, reel her in.
In May this year, you attended the what was it called? The Music Room Studio Show. And now you're here at this event. So is there something you especially like about these interviews, song swapping things?
Yeah, and they're sitting out there. I like having people in things like this. And house concerts are my favorite venue of all to play. And being in a room with people where I would like for them to be able to at any time to interject if they like or they don't like, or they have a question or they want to know where that song came from. Mm-hmm. Those are really important to me. I guess when I was younger, I wanted a big crowd, and I wanted bright lights and a big crowd. And now, as I get older, I want authenticity, and I want connection with people. Mm-hmm. And so this is my favorite kind of place to be.
Like prioritize the important stuff these days.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Our very first show of this series, as I said, was with your buddy Randy Brown, and you performed with him as the Randy Boys. What do you like better, like solo gigs or these duo things? Or
they're just real different. One of the things I like the Randy Boys because I like the companionship and the friendship of Randy Brown. He's a fine man, and I've never had a songwriting partner or a playing partner that we didn't have arguments about things. But Randy and I have yet to have a go at it. We seem to be on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and, good sign.
we did a little tour of western Kansas and Oklahoma Panhandle and Texas Panhandle. It was 20 shows in 21 days.
Wow.
And you think if things were going to go south, they would have, and because we stayed in all these cheap motels doing all these little funny gigs, and we just had a blast, had a ball. And just a few weeks ago, we went on we did a truncated version of that, and again had a great time.
Mm. Now, talking about these extensive tours, 20 shows in 21 days and stuff like that, and being on the road in between, is that getting any harder these days, or how do you take more time when you travel from one place to another? Or?
I thrive on it. I like it. Now, Randy, he'll gripe a little bit about. He'll say, well, "Why don't we have another day off here or something?" And I just thrive on it. I like them, and I would do more of them. I did a similar thing through Michigan this last summer, and just had a ball playing. And most of it has to do with the people that I meet along the way.
Right. Okay. All right. Ready for another one?
Sure.
Yes, so.
Sure. Let's do, since we're talking about Randy Brown, let's do a song that we wrote together.
Sure.
This was a song that we sat down and we were at the Folk Alliance conference in Kansas City, and we paid a lot of money to be there at this conference. So what we do instead of going to the seminars and all that sort of thing is we sat in our room and wrote songs. So my wife doesn't appreciate this song so much, but we wrote 3 rules for this song. The first rule was we had to use, it had to be a sad love song. Second rule was we had to use a chord we had never used before. Mm-hmm. And the third rule was that we had to look up something on the internet to make sure it was true. So you tell me how we did. So. the starlight breaks the silence, the colors fade to gray. Stars all talk among themselves along the Milky Way. Andromeda's not speaking, she hums a mournful tune, and Venus chases the moon. From setting sun to morning light, am I the only one staring at this starry host, regretting what I've done? Mars is gently setting, Orion's in the swoon, and Venus chases the moon. She whispered, I am sorry, I just turned away, so what more is left to say? Oh, if I had told the truth, would I be standing here, feeling like a falling star about to disappear? Oh, a footnote in the margins, a black and white cartoon, watching Venus chase the moon. She whispered, I am sorry, I just turned away, so what more is left to say? If I headed back right now, she might still be home, but the promises are broken, so I'll stand here all alone and watch these stars fade one by one, the sun to come up soon, and Venus chase the moon. Watching Venus chase, watching Venus chase the moon.
Now, you just said one way to write is the way you just described, you know, it has to be true, it has to be this, it has to be that. So what kind of ideas inspire you for other songs that you write? To the live things or stories or fiction?
Stories, people I love, my family, and I've written. I mean, I don't know how many love songs I've written, you know, because I mean, I'm. Truth is, I've just been really blessed. I've got these wonderful parents. I got a wife that's just amazing, and I got kids that are they're completely different from one another, but they're you know, I just love them. I mean, they're my kids, and they're my daughters, and I have some grandchildren, and so those that close in group probably sparks most of the ideas. Mm-hmm. Then you may not know it when you hear the song that came from that group, but yep. A lot of it does. Mm-hmm. A whole lot of it does. And I'm trying to think of. You want to hear a family song?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is. I'm sorry I keep tuning too, but
except the one we get to later, which is basic for a question, but I don't think you were playing Old Bones right now, no?
Old Bones?
No, not yet, right?
Not yet, but no.
Because
but I could.
I come back to that later.
Oh, okay.
So family song's fine as long as it's not Old Bones.
Yeah. This is a song about my mom and dad, and my mom was in the hospital a few years back, and they're in their late 80s, and it was touch and go for a little bit, but she rallied and things got better. But I got to go to school watching my dad take care of my mom, and so this is where this song comes from. Mama's resting on the bed. Her body's weak and my daddy's scared. It's been touch and go all through the night. So he reaches out, he takes her hand and says, God, please, could you understand? 60 years of love is not enough. Bride, young and beautiful, standing by his side. With all the years they've been through the good, the bad, they're living proof that 60 years of love is not enough. Teenage kids that broke the rules. They got married young in high school when they eloped to Tucumcari, New Mexico. So he worked 2 jobs, they made ends meet. She finished high school with a baby, and 60 years have come and they've gone. So my brother and I step off to the side. Daddy looks deep into Mama's eyes, and she says everything will be good. So he counts his blessings one by one, and he says we have not yet begun. 60 years of love is not enough. And he sees her as his bride, young and beautiful, standing by his side. With all the years they've been through the good, the bad, they're living proof that 60 years of love is not enough. So he counts his blessings one by one, and he says we have not yet begun. 60 years of love, 60 years of love, 60 years of love is not enough.
Now, this was a song where obviously, or I assume, the lyrics came first to your mind before the melody, right?
Well, the line 60 years of love came first.
How is it when you write usually? Is it first some lyrics or some headline or some melody or?
it often starts with a phrase. It may not be the hook phrase of a song, but it may be the introduction line or something, and it'll start with that. I just finished a song. Or I say finished. It's not finished till it's not. I don't know if it's really finished or not yet. It's evolving. Just the other day, but the first line, came to me, and the song flowed from there.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you start building around.
Yeah, it starts building around that, and the story was already there. It was just looking for a way to come out, and finally you come up with one line that kind of gets it started, and then it just kind of
pours out.
Yeah.
When do you know it's finished? It could be a work in progress forever, but when are you?
When you record it.
Yeah. But is there a point where you realize, okay, I'm happy with what I have now, or is it like I can do better?
There's this part of my brain is going, there's a better word. Mm-hmm. Somewhere there's a better word for that word, and so I'm always searching for that.
Yeah.
And so until it's put on an album or something, it's really a work in progress.
Mm. But there's a point where you have to make that decision, right?
Yeah.
Say, okay, now I'm done.
Yeah, and it's usually in front of a microphone like this in the studio.
Yeah.
And it is where I finally say, okay, this is it.
This is it. Okay. Now you write a ton of songs, and is there a favorite from other songwriters you wish you had written?
There's Randy and I do Kate Wolf's song "Across the Borderline." We do that song to kind of close our duo show. Mm-hmm. I love that song on there. I wished I'd written any song Guy Clark ever wrote, and on that, and I wished I'd written some of the early Michael Murphy songs. Mm-hmm. Those are two of my favorite writers, I grew up around John Denver, James Taylor. Mm-hmm. Great songwriting was what attracted me to music, I think.
Yeah. And Townes, obviously.
Townes Van Zandt was
like that.
And I'll tell you again a story sometime of the one time in my life I met Townes.
Go ahead.
Well, I was playing. I dropped out of college to go play guitar for a semester, I did that twice. So it took me a little while to get through school. But I was playing at a bar called the Inn of Breckenridge, Colorado, and it was a ski town. And I was doing happy hour, and then I'd do a show from 8 to 10. At this, and it was a nothing gig on this, but Townes comes walking into happy hour, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Townes Van Zandt, and so he sat down and drank a lot in a short amount of time, and we met, and I gave him back then it was an LP. On this, and he said, I'll take it home, and when I get home, I'll listen to it, and so I was feeling pretty good about myself. When about 3 a.m, I get a phone call. He goes, "Are you the guys playing at the inn?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Well, this is Townes. Come get me." And so he gave me directions, and I found him wearing a towel and a blanket. Down, and this is in the middle of winter in the ski town, and so I took him back to his room. This is my soul. Never saw him again after that, but I've seen him in a towel and a blanket.
That so you never reacted to the LP either, right?
Yeah, but he was very kind to me. He was very kind to me.
Well, basically, you probably saved his life, right?
Well, yeah. I'm glad he had somebody to call.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
All right. Let's play another one.
Okay. How about another Randy Palmer, Randy Brown? We're gonna have to. And this comes from Randy Brown. Was walking across he has a cabin in southern Colorado, and he was walking to go fishing one day, and he passed by this big cottonwood tree, and there were 3 dogs two black labs. I mean, two black labs and a white lab. And the black labs were sitting in the shade of the tree, and the white lab was sitting out in the sunshine. And that's where this song comes from. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. Everybody needs a space, a place that makes you feel fine. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. I've been a square peg looking for a round hole way too long. I've seen lots of sad faces in places I don't belong. But old black's got it made in the shade of that cottonwood tree. You know, he's found his spot. I need to find one for me. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. Everybody needs a space, a place that makes you feel fine. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. And old Dallas, that white dog, she's sleeping, not doing no wrong. She's fine in the sunshine. She knows right where she belongs. And this square peg, he's tired of trying to be somebody else. If I can't be that round peg, I guess I'll just be myself. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. Everybody needs a space, a place that makes you feel fine. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. You know, in this life you get but one good chance. So find your spot and get out there and dance. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. Everybody needs a space, a place that makes you feel fine. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine. Black dog in the shade, white dog in the sunshine.
It's probably waiting for a 10 out there. Now, I believe you also went to Nashville where you recorded your Calling Me Home album and Coming Me Home.
Calling me home.
And Coming Home you did. What made you get back to Texas?
Well, that song, the very first song we did tonight was called High Plains. Was really about the last trip that I took from Nashville to Amarillo, where my home is in Amarillo, Texas. About driving across the I-40 going west and to the High Plains two things happened. One is I got lots of songs published, but I got anything cut. So it was kind of like the writing was on the wall. I wasn't writing what was being cut at that point in time, and there was no reason to be there if you weren't getting some sort of commercial success. I was writing jingles. I mean, that was how I was surviving, was writing jingles for people. But and the second thing is I really wanted to get married. I had pursued my wife for 10 years. We dated for 10 years, and she finally said yes. And so, but part of her thing was, I think that we ought to live in Colorado, not Tennessee.
Okay.
So I came west.
But she was up there with you in Tennessee. In
no,
Nashville.
she wasn't in Nashville.
Oh,
no,
okay.
She was never there. She visited, but she needed me to get a real job. was the way she put it. So and I agreed, and so I did that. Worked with kids and high school kids and stuff like that for most of our adult life.
Right. Cool. You still do that, or you're retired, or
I'm
semi-retired?
semi-retired, I guess. She didn't like me to say that, but yeah, I would say semi-retired. I have a small construction company that I run on the side, and that keeps me busy, and I play music.
All right.
Cool. I travel all I can and playing music.
Talking about playing music, good idea.
Okay. Let's do one off the Waterline album, a love song. Talking about my wife. I'll place the bet, 'cause I live with the regret for every song that I'll never sing. And I've dreamed dreams inside dreams. They're still hanging in the breeze, so I'll hold my breath so they don't blow away. But if I could step back in time and rewind all the choices that I've made, yes, if there were the chance I'd never hold your hand, then there's nothing that I would want to change. And if a wish or a roll I could turn these songs to gold, I'd be the first to toss the dice, and I'd weave words into scenes where the blues all turn to green, and we could leave our troubles far behind. But if I could step back in time and rewind all the choices that I've made, yes, if there were the chance I'd never hold your hand, then there's nothing that I would want to change. I could step back in time and rewind all the choices that I've made. Yes, if there were the chance I'd never hold your hand, then there's nothing that I would want to change. Nothing that I would want to change.
Now you had a line in there, if you could step back in time. Now if you put that over to your musical career, would you do anything different these days if you had to start over musically?
Yeah, there's probably a lot that I would do differently, but I was trying to think if there's any one thing that I could center in on. I would say one is I took the years off that my kids were growing up, and worked and didn't play as much.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I'd played more during those times. Maybe not traveled so much, but I'd pursued it harder during those years too. On that, I just think it would help now. But honestly, there's not a lot that I would do different except do more of it. Yeah. I mean, just because I love playing music, and I love writing a good song, and it just feels so good when you get hold of a good one, and it's just something I treasure, you know.
Probably hard to do, like get out and play more, and at the same time want to be there for see the kids grow up. So
sure, you want to, you know. I didn't, and you know, I just. As our life got busier with 3 girls, you know, we just they were the focus of our lives, and so we didn't do a lot of things. My wife's a tennis player. She didn't play much tennis during those years, you know, but she's back playing now. She went to the Nationals this year. Really? Yeah, it's great. We just and I just got my Medicare card, so that tells you something too. That you know, she went to Nationals as a 60 plus, so that's great. Yeah.
You should have put her when you were in Nashville back then. You should have put her on the tennis court.
I know
and
it.
Make her win
I know
Wimbledon,
it. Yeah,
right?
I should have said, why don't you get busier on your tennis?
Exactly. Now, in Texas, it's more about music and less about fame and money, at least as far as the people we know. And would you rather write a song that gives you an instant $1 million or one that actually people talk about still 100 years later?
Everybody wants to write that hit song, but would I trade writing a good song for? Would I write "Achy Breaky Heart"?
No, probably not.
Or would I write, you know, a really heartfelt song? I think I'd write the heartfelt song. Yeah, because it just doesn't fit me. I mean, I don't fit that genre.
Yeah. You know? If you look at actually just last week, for whatever stupid reason, I got a copy of the Billboard magazine, probably because the CMA Awards are coming up and we're supposed to vote. And that #1 spot that is being held by that guy, I even can't remember his name. It's kind of a rap thing, but it's in the country chart. Somebody wrote that, and it stays there for, I don't know, like, 40 weeks now?
They did a rap song and put a steel guitar behind it and called it country.
Yeah, totally weird, you know. Yeah. So, but, obviously they make money with it.
Yeah.
But I think I have yet to meet one songwriter of the, like, let me say, the serious kind that actually would prefer to write something that he can stand behind in order to make money and not write something that he really likes. So I haven't met him yet. You know,
I think one of the best paydays I've ever had is to be around a circle at the Kerrville Folk Festival playing songs. At 3 a.m, somebody said, "I heard that song from a friend of mine," you know, and one of your songs. And that what an honor that is that somebody else was doing your song.
It. Yeah, absolutely. You know. Yeah. Okay, let's play another one, I guess.
Okay, this is, since I said I was 65, I'll go. This is a song. It came every now and then. I use song prompts, and which simply means I open up a dictionary, a book, or something like that, and I go. Okay, I look at the word, and the word that I came up with was naive. And so that became the song prompt for this song, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Hear the snap of sheets hanging on the line as a warm breeze sweeps the yard and fills this place with the smell of clean. I hear the beating of my heart as I lay here in fresh cut grass and watch the clouds drift by. You know, life was sweet and it was just for me in the summer of 65. Yeah, I still hear that whomp as as that ball hit my glove. I was squatting behind home plate, 2 outs, 3 runs on. Oh, the count was full at 3-2, and the air's electrified. Yeah, he fanned that flame, we won that game in the summer of '65. We were innocent, we were so naive, we did not understand Vietnam or Martin Luther King. And the world was spinning faster, and our days were slipping by, and our questions started mounting in the summer of '65. '65 was the year of Watts, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and we all sang "We Shall Overcome," not knowing what it meant. But it made the old folks nervous and put fear in their eyes. I guess the status quo was DOA in the summer of '65. We played moonlit games of kick the can and sneaking in the dark, fighting off the Viet Cong invading the neighbor's yard. Oh, the feeling, it's with me in the stillness of the night. We started playing war, a whole lot more in the summer of '65. 'Cause we were innocent, we were so naive, we did not understand Vietnam or Martin Luther King. And the world was spinning faster, and our days were slipping by, and our questions started mounting in the summer of '65. Yeah. Whoa, so here I am, I'm an older man, I'm approaching 65. And if I could, I'd like to leave something good behind. Maybe for my grandkids, turn darkness into light. But the best I can do is to give to them a summer like '65. 'Cause we were innocent, we were so naive, we did not understand Vietnam or Martin Luther King. And the world was spinning faster, and our days were slipping by, and our questions started mounting in the summer of '65. Yeah. Well, the questions started mounting back in the summer of '65.
Now there's different kind of genres you write. One, like this one, was almost like a protest song from back then.
Yeah.
And then there's songs like Old Bones that we mentioned earlier, which I think you wrote about your experience being a granddad. What kind of makes you decide on the topic? Is it just the way you feel at the moment, or now I'm going to write a protest song, or now I'm going to write a love song? Or?
Well, I mean, I definitely have opinions about the political situations going on. I'm not gonna go into that.
Yes,
I've learned the hard way. I've learned, I mean, as a protest song, it'd be subtle. I mean, it'd be subtle. I'd rather have somebody asking questions and thinking through than preaching at them. Mm-hmm. But like Old Bones is, I was asking myself, what kind of granddad do I want to be? Mm-hmm. And so that's where that song Old Bones came from.
Right. Would you play that?
Sure. Well, he had old bones and a hero's eyes, and had that look that would draw me inside of his secrets and the stories that he told of love lost and days grown old. They were sacred truths that I was swore to keep. I'd cross my heart, I'd say you can trust me. We're blood brothers. Ever since that day we pricked our fingers and blood was exchanged. You know, Granddad had a way with me. He couldn't make me a part of his story and be a compadre. Riding fast, wind at our backs, we were headed west. He was more than an old man on a cane with a shaking hand. We were two desperados. We were the best of friends. And I remember the day that he died, the phone rang. Mama cried. And I stood there, and I shook my fist at God, said, please don't take this man that I love. But Granddad had left a prayer for me to be strong and grow in his family and be a compadre unto the very end. Keep riding west until we meet again. Yeah, be a compadre unto the very end. Keep riding west until we meet again.
So basically, your granddad inspired you to be a granddad like him for your grandkids, right?
Yeah, my granddad was really quiet. He was what would you call it? He was touch oriented. He wasn't verbal a lot, but he was really good with his hands. He could show me how to make things, how to do things, and stuff like that. And I really did want to be like him. And I turned out to be the talker, but he was a wonderful man. He was a really wonderful man.
Cool. Now, before I get to my last one, the usual. I can hardly see anybody back there. Light. Any questions to Randy Palmer from you guys? Merle isn't here, so.
What was the chord you had to write that? So you said that. You never used that chord before.
Yeah, I never used that chord before, or that one. They were so. Neither of us. We just kept playing with shapes and places on the neck, and come, there it is. We can make that work. We can.
But you have to look up on the internet.
We had no idea about phases of the moon and Mars, the swooning and stuff like that. So we had to look that up and read it back and forth to each other several times to say that works.
How many beers?
No, I don't think there was any beer involved in that.
Wow.
I think that was pad and pencil and really working at it, which is typically how we write on that. And then
just sit down and inspire each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've written quite a few songs together now, and it's interesting. Randy's he writes dark songs.
Some of them.
Yeah, and I typically write. He says that my job is to. He writes things that are dark and kind of sad. My job is to put people in smiles.
Put them back up, lift them up again.
Yeah, so lift them back up again. And it's interesting. I think he's just such a treasure. What a dear friend and a great person to work with. You know, I just feel really fortunate to have that relationship.
Did you ever have to write the uplifting songs that you want to play right now?
Let me see. I've got one. It's about being a daydreamer, and which I am. I often am daydreaming. And yep, we're in tune there. So this is called Somewhere Down the Line. You know, in my dreams, I'm an engineer just rolling down this track. And I'm headed west across the Rio Grande, and I'm never looking back. Up into the Rockies, down the other side, to the Badlands and the canyons where outlaws go to hide. And that'd be somewhere down the line, across the Great Divide, where the dreams I dream, they come alive. Somewhere down the line, where the stars are shining bright, I'll be a hero or a villain, somewhere down the line. You know, in my dreams, I'm Honest Abe with a pen in my hand, and I craft those words that speak the truth about freedom in this land. And then I turn into Jesse James with blood as cold as ice, a bandana stretched across my face and my gun at my side. And that'd be somewhere down the line, across the Great Divide, where the dreams I dream, they come alive. Somewhere down the line, where the stars are shining bright, somewhere down the line. You know, I could cross the Jordan into the promised land, or I could ride with Don Quixote, hold $1 million in my hand. It's all a great adventure, so saddle up and ride somewhere down the You know, it's hard to be a pioneer in a settled land. So I've been dreaming of homestead in heaven, and I'm making up a plan. I gotta sneak around these pearly gates. I know everything is true, like D.B. Cooper took the money and the parachute, and he's gone somewhere down the line, across the Great Divide, where the dreams I dream, they come alive. Somewhere down the line, where the stars are shining bright, I'll be a hero or a villain. Somewhere down the line, I'll be a hero or a villain. Somewhere down the line.
Or both. Randomly. All right, we got one more question, one more song. And the usual last one of mine is, if you were to interview Randy Palmer, what would you ask him that I did not?
I think most of the questions have been around things that are positive and stuff like that. Maybe I might ask, where's it hurt? Yeah. because that's such a part of songwriting too. So maybe that, and I would tell you that it's just been a really difficult year. I lost my brother and my brother-in-law both to cancer this year, and that's just been my brother and I were really close, and so that's impacted a lot of things on that. It's made me more serious this year. I'm having a hard time getting my smile back on on some things on that. For a last song, I don't know if we want to try this or not. But I have a song about my brothers.
Oh, sure.
And
If you're up to it, absolutely.
yeah. They were my brothers, one by marriage, one by blood, and they were kind men, they were fine men, they were true, they were loved. But the devil came a-calling, cancer was the name, he brought destruction. And all he left was pain. My brothers know if heaven is real, my brothers know if grace and mercy finally heal, my brothers know if we will meet again. My brothers know, my brothers know. Been a hard year. I guess heaven only knows the hell I live in, saying goodbye to brothers that I love. If these memories bring comfort, they do not fill the void, so I find that I'm crying and I'm standing all alone. My brothers know if heaven is real, my brothers know if grace and mercy finally heal, my brothers know if we will meet again, my brothers know, my brothers know. Questions, we live with our doubt. You know I am no exception. I haven't figured this thing out. But if eternity is out there, is it meant for you and me? Oh, brothers, hear my question and give my heart some peace. Brothers know if heaven is real, my brothers know if grace and mercy finally heal, my brothers know if we will meet again, my brothers know, my brothers know.
Nothing more to say about that then. And thank you very much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
And
you for allowing me to
Thank
be
you
here.
so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next month, guys.
Thank you.